Hello, everyone. This is another edition of the Dom Vec Podcast. Today I have on Jack Bilotta, and he is a videographer, photographer, and content creator from Fairfield. Jack, how are you today?
I'm awesome. Thank you for having me, Dom. It's a pleasure.
Thank you
I'm
for
excited.
joining me as well. So the first question, what or who inspired you to start doing what you do today?
So it's a kind of funny story. I played football my whole life, all the way up until junior year. I actually played some my junior year, and at a certain point, it got to I wasn't really that as good as everybody else. It was kind of becoming like a waste of my time. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stop playing. And my mom was like, you're gonna have to do something instead. So there's a dude who made videos for the team. He had this big handheld camera. And I was like, hey, can I help out? Maybe do some videos. He's like, sure. Started making videos, posting them to YouTube, Instagram, got a couple views. They're like, you should start a page, whatever. So I started one, and it pretty much kind of just took off from there. Yeah, some of my inspirations, as in, like, who am I inspired by? There's a bunch guys in the area who have just helped a lot. QN, he's helped a little, yeah. But I'd say one of the big guys is Noah the Boa from Tennessee. He's been a huge inspiration. He's pretty good at what he does, so yeah.
And so who or what did you film when you picked up the camera the first time? Was it Fairfield Ludlow football?
Yeah. So I started with Fairfield Ludlow football, and so we weren't amazing last year, but we had a really good running back, Aaron Field. He ran for like 1,600 yards, something crazy like that, and just filming him, being able to get clips of that kind of started it, and then yeah, that was the first sport.
Was he your first video? Like, was that on YouTube or?
Yeah. So they gave me the login for the Fairfield Ludlow football, and we're like, here, you could post your videos that you make. I was like, cool. I made one. That's where I learned you can't use swear words in your videos. Coaches were coming to me like, multiple F-bombs, you gotta watch out what you're doing. And I was like, all right, it's my first time. So I posted that first one to the Ludlow football Instagram, and then I made my own after that.
And so overall now, let's say a little over a year now. So what schools, companies, and organizations are you a part of, or do you work for?
So one of the main organizations I work for is the National Lacrosse Federation. And how they work is they have six core teams that originally joined. Can't name off the top of the head, but the one that I work for primarily is Team 91, which founded by Brian Spalina, a great guy. They are huge in Long Island, like the best lacrosse team in the country, consistently program wise, and that's who I primarily work with in the summers and the fall. And then besides that, I do a little bit for Fairfield U, which I don't know how that'll go this year. Their basketball team's a little up and down with stuff going on in the program, but hopefully I could be working with them again. But National Lacrosse Federation 91 is my main employers.
And then obviously Fairfield Ludlow, but that's kind of more for
for
fun, because obviously you go there, so it's not like
the payment is more from the boosters and from the parents. I would love if the school could pay me, but I mean, it is what it is.
You're a student as well, so it's
it's hard.
You go there, so it's And what made you decide to work for some of those like particular organizations or companies? Was it kind of just like someone reached out to you, or did you actually take the time to reach out, or because you saw them on social media or whatever?
Yeah, so I've grown up played lacrosse my whole life, so it's always been like a part of my loved filming lacrosse. I did a little bit of the Fairfield U, and then I reached out to a guy named Matt Chandick, and he kind of runs all the social medias for all of these teams in NLF and 91. And I sent him an email one night. I was like, hey, I'm a videographer from Connecticut, and the FC Axe is coming up, States is coming up, the boarding school, their invitation,
national prep,
the national prep, the 14th,
yep.
That was coming up, and I emailed them. I was like, hey, I know you guys don't really have a lot of coverage in the Northeast. It's a lot of Maryland, Long Island stuff. So you didn't write back for a little while, which was fine. And I was kind of scrambling, trying to find a summer job. high schooler. And one night he replied and he was like, "Hey, you got a chance to call?" He called me, was like, "Hey, we'd love to have you. I like your stuff. Like, how about this Thursday?" I was like, "Oh my God." Like, I went from thinking I wasn't gonna, like, if I told my year ago self that I'd be working for like one of the biggest lacrosse social medias in the country, I would have freaked out. But yeah, luckily, big shout out to Matt Chandick. He definitely is a huge turning point in my career.
Was that the same thing with Fairfield U? Did you just kind of email somebody, or did you
Yeah.
have a connection already?
So I was coming home from school and I was on my phone, had a traffic lights. I was scrolling. I saw that they had that new arena, so I was like, that would be sick to take videos in. So I went to the staff directory, found like their media coordinate. I just called him. I was like, "Hey, like, can I come shoot for free?" He was like, "Yep." He'll like, "What's your? How do you spell your name?" And they'll have a pass waiting for you. So yeah, I've one thing I've learned, it's conversations are free. Have as many as you can, because that I just called him and he said yes. So it was shoot my shot and it worked.
What sports have you shot for them over the
Um,
past year?
I've done a lot of basketball, and I did like one or two games for lacrosse. I did a lot of pictures for lacrosse, and then videos for basketball. More like in-game highlights rather than like post-production, editing, stuff like that.
And did you like working with Fairfield? Obviously, like they're our rivals, so
Yeah.
it's different, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy working for them
Yeah.
overall?
It was a great environment. At least for me, it was awesome. I mean, I was a junior in high school, so I wasn't expecting to get paid. It was free. I was pretty much doing it for free at that time. I mean, I was allowed to go up into that VIP section, get food. They were great to me. All the workers were nice. Overall, yeah, all the other media guys were nice there too. So it made for a nice environment.
And what do you like most about like the basketball arena there? I've never been, but
I mean, the lighting is awesome. Any creative would go in there and never want to leave. The second you go to any other place like an indoor arena, you're gonna be like, "Wow, this is brutal." Besides that, the food,
the food.
the food.
And then, do you have any interesting or funny stories from your career so far?
I gotta think. Definitely breaking things. Anytime I break something, obviously it's awful. Um, I remember breaking my lens. That was horrible.
How did you
Or
do that?
I mean, I was sitting on the field and I was leaning back and I had a monopod with a hi-hat tripod base and I leaned back, hit the handle and it just went dropped. And went to go take a picture and it was shaking and I was like, this is not good.
When did this happen?
This was back in May. And then I'm trying to think of other funny stories. I think drove all the way to New Canaan. So I live in Fairfield.
Yeah.
I drove all the way to New Canaan.
Yep.
And forgot all my SD cards, which was brutal. Definitely brutal. I was able to find a CVS luckily and picked up just like one of the basic cards, but that was stressful.
And which game was that for? Was that in the spring or?
That was for that was in the beginning of the summer for the like the one two hand touch 7-on-7 league, and I drove all the way up there on like a Thursday night, like a Sunday night. Oh, that was awful.
Was it at least good? Like,
yeah,
was it worth
was good. Yeah, no, not at all. No, no, not at all.
Was it just the local high school teams? Like,
Yeah, it was like local. It was like local teams. I wasn't getting paid. I was kind of just like needed to fill my time. Yeah. What about you? You have any funny stories?
Let's see. That's a good question. I guess like
It's a hard question.
I don't know, like for Sacred Heart, I do a lot of broadcasts, so there's just like funny things that go on, like different commentary that I can hear from like my director when I'm filming for the broadcast for our live streams on NEC Front Row or whatever we're on, and just like the funny things that they will say or funny or interesting stories, just like meeting like people that like just some people at certain games that like I have so much in connection with, but like if I didn't meet them, like I wouldn't have known them at all. But not off the top of my head, just kind of like those stories overall. But so what does Fairfield Ludlow mean to you, and what will you miss about it the most?
Oh, so What it means to me, it's a really really close, tight knit connection through everybody. I'm super fortunate that the public schools where we go are really good. Education is great. The sports are not horrible. Like we're not bad. Football is definitely getting better. Lacrosse has always been pretty good. Basketball is up and down, but it's more of like a family. I'm also super lucky to have a really tight group of friends, who make it 10 times easier than high school should be, because it's super, yeah, like it is super stressful, but so with all the college applications and stuff like that. But yeah, no, if I were to think of one thing, it would be family. I think the number one thing I'm gonna miss, um it's just like hanging out with like all my friends on like weeknights, and it's all like the little things, like all the football games, like seeing each other in the hallways, stuff like that. And yeah, filming the games definitely.
Do you want to plan to major in film in college?
So this is I'm not super sure yet, which I think a part of that is I'm not like super aware of all the majors, what their professions are. I definitely know that I'm gonna stick with photography and videography in college, no matter where I go. That was a lot of the picking where I'm applying and knowing which programs to apply to, etc. And I think I'm going to steer a direction of maybe major in like communications and minor in photography, or major in business, minor in photography. Because as much as like I love making videos, I've grown to like photography a lot more. I'm not sure. I like obviously I love videos. Always make videos, but I don't know whether it's the fact that it's a little easier to a little less time consuming, or I don't know. I've just kind of started to like photos as I go on more and more, but definitely somewhere along the communications business with photography, somewhere along that line.
And just in general, what are your plans for colleges? Like, what applications have you sent out to different colleges?
So my top three right now are Providence, Syracuse, and Maryland. Knocking on wood. Those are the big three that I'm hoping to get into. Some of the other ones that I'm applying to, St. Joe's and Philly, UConn, Loyola, Maryland, Delaware, Xavier, and Dayton. So yeah, all those schools got sports that I would film, but those big three are definitely the leading.
I guess it's a good variety.
Yeah.
Just like throughout the Northeast, and then Dayton and Xavier in Ohio. But that's a good mix. Have you went on any tours yet or no?
Yeah, I've been to the Providence tour and the St. Joe's tour. St. Joe's was cool. Awesome people. Providence, same thing. I loved it. Providence, I just kind of felt that hominess. I like that. And Syracuse. I went to Syracuse. Didn't go on a tour though, but I actually got to shoot that game. The Syracuse Duke game. That was awesome. That was really cool. There were tons of people. DeMar Hamlin showed up, which was sick. But yeah.
What about Maryland?
Maryland, I haven't been there. I have like a online mutual guy that I've talked to before online, who went there and he loved it, loved their media program. I think he had like an internship with the Jets after, which is cool.
That's awesome. And then what's your goals or plans for the future, like even after college? Or is that just like not decided? I know that's a pretty...
I gotta think. I don't know. Hopefully make as much money wherever I'm at. I've always been very money driven, which is a lot of my business too, is trying to make as much money. I don't know, business maybe, something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see wherever I go. I know I'll always have the camera with me, whichever route I go. I know that'll be a part of my life.
Thank you for coming on again.
Oh yeah.
So, thank you for watching this edition of the Dom Vec Podcast. Thank you, Jack, for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a great day, everybody. Hit the like button and subscribe for more sports content.